You ever notice how people keep telling us that hard work is the secret to everything? Work harder, push more, sleep less. But the more I look around, the more I see a strange pattern. Some of the hardest working people I know are still stressed about bills, while others seem to move forward without burning themselves out. Welcome back to Invest in Wisdom. If you enjoy calm conversations about money, mindset, and the quiet strategies that build real wealth, remember to subscribe. Today we're diving into a book with a title that honestly hits pretty close to home, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And its first big idea is this: hard work alone will never make you rich. It sounds uncomfortable, but the more you observe the world, the more it makes sense. Olivia, I'm curious. Have you noticed this too?
Oh, absolutely. I used to think the hardest working person should naturally rise to the top, but then real life shows you something different. People who aren't killing themselves somehow keep progressing, and others who put in everything they have stay stuck in the same spot year after year. It makes you start questioning the whole effort equals wealth formula. Maybe the real difference is happening way before the paycheck, somewhere in the mind.
That's exactly where the book takes us. It talks about this idea of a money blueprint, something we carry without even realizing it. It's shaped by our upbringing, our environment, and the beliefs we absorbed long before we ever earned our first dollar. And if that blueprint is set to scarcity, if it quietly tells you money is hard, or dangerous, or temporary, then no amount of effort can rewrite your financial reality. It's like trying to sprint with a weight tied to your ankle. Meanwhile, someone with a different blueprint sees opportunities where you see obstacles, not because they're better, just because their inner settings aren't fighting against them.
That actually explains a lot. It's not that we're doing things wrong, it's that we're doing the right things on top of an outdated foundation. And I like the idea that a blueprint can be changed. It means we're not trapped by our past or by what we grew up hearing about money. We can outgrow it, rewrite it, and create something that actually supports the life we want.
Exactly. This chapter doesn't tell us to quit working hard. It tells us to make our effort effective. When the blueprint changes, your decisions change. You spend differently, you save differently, you see possibilities instead of limitations. That's when hard work finally starts paying off. The book basically says, your mindset is the engine. Your effort is just the fuel. If the engine is outdated, more fuel won't get you farther.
I like that metaphor. It makes wealth feel less like luck and more like something learnable, something we can grow into instead of chase blindly. And I think that's why this chapter resonates with people. It gives them a clearer starting point. Not work harder, but update the engine first. Then the hard work actually moves you somewhere new.
Picking up from where we left off, Olivia, the more I think about that money blueprint, the more everything in life starts to make sense. Because if hard work isn't the real divider between wealth and struggle, then something else has to be driving the difference. And chapter 2 jumps right into that idea. It says wealthy people don't just make different choices. They think in a completely different direction. It's like they walk into the same situation as everyone else, but their inner script interprets it in a totally different way. They see money as a tool, not a burden, as potential, not pressure. And that tiny shift in how they see the world ends up shaping everything they do. Do you feel that too when you look at the people around you?
Yeah, I really do. I've seen people with the same income level, same job, same opportunities, even similar struggles, yet their attitudes toward money couldn't be more different. Some people look at every decision from a place of fear. What if this goes wrong? And others naturally ask, what if this helps me grow? It's not that rich thinkers are braver. They just seem to have this inner confidence that money can come back if they use it wisely, so they don't freeze when opportunities appear. They lean in a little, even if it's just one small step.
Exactly. And the book says one of the biggest differences is this: poor minds focus on cost. Rich minds focus on value. A poor mindset sees a $200 course and thinks, that's too expensive. A wealth mindset thinks, if this skill earns me even a little more over the next 5 years, the return could be huge. Same information, totally different lens. And when you repeat that difference over hundreds of decisions, you end up with two completely different financial lives. It's not luck, it's perspective guiding behavior.
I've noticed that too. When you talk to wealthy thinkers, they don't obsess about the price tag. They're more curious about what something creates. Will it save time? Will it increase income? Will it improve a skill? Meanwhile, a scarcity mindset stops at the first uncomfortable feeling. It costs too much. It feels risky. Maybe later. And because of that, life stays small. Not because people can't grow, but because their mindset never gives them permission to start.
That's such a good point. Another major difference the book talks about is responsibility. People with a wealth blueprint tend to say, I created this result, so I can create a better one. Not in a self-blaming way, but in a self-empowering way. Poor minds often feel life is happening to them. The economy, the boss, the timing, bad luck. And when everything is external, you lose the sense that you can shape your future. But when you quietly say, I had a hand in this, your brain opens up to solutions instead of excuses. That's something wealthy people do instinctively.
And that mindset really changes the entire emotional tone of life. People who take ownership feel more steady because they trust their ability to adjust. They don't crumble when something goes wrong. They adapt, refine, learn, and keep moving. It's like their blueprint is always asking, okay, what's the next step? Instead of, why is this happening to me? And that creates so much momentum over time. Honestly, hearing chapter 2 explain this way makes me realize how much of wealth has nothing to do with money and everything to do with how we see ourselves in relation to it.
One idea from this book that really stays with me is the thought that wealth doesn't start with numbers at all. It starts with identity. Not who you are on paper, but who you quietly believe yourself to be. Some people secretly think, I'm the kind of person who never gets ahead, and life somehow keeps proving that belief right. Others carry a quiet confidence like, I can grow, I can learn, I can build something. And that belief shapes every choice they make long before the money shows up. It's interesting how our financial future begins long before the finances themselves.
Yeah, I've felt that too. It's like people carry a hidden story about themselves, and that story becomes the limit. If someone sees themselves as bad with money, they stop trying to understand it. If they see themselves as someone who always struggles, they ignore opportunities because it doesn't match their identity. But when a person starts believing they're capable of managing money and making good decisions, they begin acting differently, even if they're still starting from zero. It's almost like identity sets the ceiling and mindset pushes it higher.
Exactly. The book suggests that the moment you shift your identity, your habits begin to update automatically. You start asking different questions. You spend with more intention. You stop treating money emotionally and start treating it strategically, not because someone forced you, but because it matches the person you're becoming. It's like adjusting the compass inside you. The direction of your life changes even before your footsteps do. That's why rewriting your money identity is such a powerful first step.
I like that metaphor, a compass. Because sometimes people try to change their behavior without changing the beliefs underneath. They try to save money, but still believe they'll never be wealthy. They try to invest, but still think they're not that kind of person. So, of course, it doesn't stick. But when the internal identity shifts, the behavior finally has a place to grow. It's not a fight anymore, it feels natural.
And I think that's why some people transform so quickly once they get the mindset part right. They're not working harder. They're working from a different version of themselves. A version that expects growth. A version that feels worthy of stability and abundance. And once you believe you're capable, the world suddenly feels full of options instead of obstacles. That shift alone can change the entire direction of someone's financial life.
It really can. And the best part is, you don't need wealth to start building that identity. You can start with small things, managing a budget, reading a book, learning a skill, making one better decision each week. Every action becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. And little by little, the identity catches up. I think that's the message of this chapter. You don't wait for wealth to arrive. You become the kind of person who invites it.
There's a point in this book where the ideas stop being abstract and suddenly become very practical. That's when it introduces the 6 jars system. It's not a magic trick. It's a habit structure. Instead of letting money come in and disappear, you give every dollar a place to go. You don't just ask, "Do I have enough?" You ask, "What is this money for?" And once your money has clear jobs, your financial life starts to feel a lot less random.
I really like that way of thinking because most people don't actually manage money. They just react to it. The paycheck comes in, the bills show up, something fun pops up, and the month is gone. There's no pattern, no rhythm. What the 6 jar system does is turn that chaos into a simple map. You're not guessing anymore. You're deciding. And that alone already changes how you feel about your finances.
Exactly. The idea is that your life has different needs, so your money needs different homes. One part takes care of your daily life. Another part is for building your future. Another is for growing your mind. There's a part just for enjoying life, and a part for giving back. 6 jars, 6 directions your life can grow in. We'll go deeper into each jar later, but the core message is this. When money is divided with intention, it stops controlling you and you start guiding it.
And I think it's beautiful that this system doesn't ignore emotions. It knows people need joy, so there's space for fun. It knows people want to feel useful and kind, so there's space for giving. It's not just save more, spend less. It's build a life that feels rich in more than one way. That makes it a lot easier to stay consistent because you're not just protecting your future, you're also taking care of your present.
That consistency is the real secret. Anyone can follow a strict budget for 1 or 2 months and then burn out. But a system that respects your human side, your curiosity, your dreams, your need to breathe, that's a system you can follow for years. And over years, the small amounts in each jar start to grow. Your skills grow, your investments grow, your sense of security grows. The 6 jars aren't about perfection. They're about gently training your mind to think like someone who is building wealth on purpose.
And the good news is, you don't need to wait for the right moment to start. You can begin with tiny amounts. You can start messy. What matters is that you begin to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Little by little, this structure becomes part of who you are. And when that happens, wealth is no longer just a goal. It becomes a natural side effect of how you live.
Now that we've talked about the idea behind the 6 jars, let's break down what each jar actually does. Because the power isn't just in the structure, it's in understanding why each piece exists. Let's start with the biggest one, the necessities jar. This is the money that keeps your life running. Rent, food, bills, transportation. What makes it powerful isn't the spending, but the limit. When you commit to keeping necessities within a healthy boundary, you stop your life from quietly inflating every time you earn a little more. It's a gentle reminder. Don't let your lifestyle grow faster than your growth.
I love that point because lifestyle creep is real. People get a raise and suddenly everything gets upgraded: coffee, clothes, apartments. But nothing truly changes on the inside. The next jar, the financial freedom jar, is the opposite energy. This is money you use to grow more money: investments, stocks, funds, anything that compounds. Even if it's tiny at first, it trains your brain to think like a wealth builder, not just a spender. And honestly, when people start investing, their confidence changes long before their bank account does.
Exactly. Then there's the education jar, which I think is the most underestimated one. This 10% is meant to grow you. Books, courses, skills, anything that upgrades your thinking. Because money grows at the speed your mind grows. If your knowledge stays the same, your financial life stays the same. This jar is like sharpening the axe before chopping wood. It makes every effort more effective.
And right next to that is the long-term savings jar. This isn't for random splurges, it's for meaningful goals and real emergencies. Starting a business, a future home, travel you've dreamed of, or unexpected medical situations. It's like having a quiet friend in the background, one who's always ready when life surprises you. Without this jar, dreams never get funded and emergencies become disasters.
Then we have the play jar. One of the reasons people can stay consistent with this system for years. This jar is guilt-free fun. Good food, a small trip, a hobby, something that makes life feel alive. If your system has no joy, you'll quit. But when joy is built into the plan, you stay balanced. And long-term wealth only comes from balance, not punishment.
And finally, the give jar. Some people think it's optional, but it actually shifts how you feel about money. Giving keeps you from living in fear. It reminds you that money flows, that you're not losing it, you're participating in something bigger. And the surprising part? People who give tend to feel richer even before their income grows. That's why all 6 jars matter. Together, they create a life that's stable, growing, joyful, generous, and future focused.
What I love about this final chapter is how it brings everything back to the inner world. After all the systems, jars, habits, and strategies, the book reminds us that wealth ultimately follows identity. Not the identity you tell the world, but the one you carry quietly inside. If you believe you're someone who can grow, who can learn, who can make better choices tomorrow than you did yesterday, your actions naturally start aligning with that belief, and little by little, your financial life becomes a reflection of the person you're becoming.
Yeah, it's like wealth isn't really about income at the beginning, it's about the story you tell yourself every day. When someone thinks, "I'm always behind," they act in small, fearful ways. They wait, they hesitate, they stay in the same place. But when someone says, I'm capable, I'm improving, I'm building. They start moving differently even before the money shows up. Identity sets the direction long before results appear.
Exactly. And I think that's why some people change faster than others. They're not forcing themselves into new habits. They're stepping into a new version of themselves. A version that expects progress instead of problems. A version that sees possibilities instead of limits. And when the internal world shifts, the external world eventually catches up. Wealth doesn't arrive first. The identity arrives first, and wealth follows.
I love that perspective because it means anyone can start from wherever they are. You don't need a certain salary or a perfect situation. You just need one belief. I can become the kind of person who handles money well. Once that belief takes root, everything else becomes a natural extension. Your saving habits, your investing choices, your ability to stay calm and intentional, it's all identity driven.
And honestly, that's the most hopeful part of this entire book. You're not trapped by the past. You're not defined by old mistakes or old habits. Identity is something you can rewrite at any moment. And once you choose a new direction internally, your money decisions begin aligning almost automatically. It's not about being perfect. It's about becoming consistent. That's the mindset that builds a lifetime of stability and growth.
And I think that's what makes this journey feel achievable. It's not about becoming rich overnight. It's about upgrading who you are, little step by little step. And as that identity gets stronger, the rest of your financial life expands with it. Growth follows belief. Money follows identity. And before we wrap up, Matt, maybe we should remind our listeners that if they want more of these calm, thoughtful conversations, they know what to do.
Absolutely. If today's conversation helped you see money and yourself in a new way, I'd love to have you join this community. Subscribe, stay with us, and let's keep growing your mind and your wealth together, one quiet idea at a time. Bye.
Bye.
See you in the
See you
next
in the
one.
next one.